what could it be? Brand new Freeride E-XC coming out of the box. So when they come, they're loosely assembled in the box. The headlight is only half attached, and handlebars and everything are off to the side. They do come fully charged, but I usually just finish pulling these two plugs out so that I take the headlight completely off, and then do the front fender and stuff so that's not all in the way, and the handlebars. It just keeps everything out of the way during the assembly. It's only two plugs to take off. But yeah, other than that, just install the foot pegs and check everything over to make sure everything is tight. We're going to leave his handlebars in position 2 actually. Yeah, so that's good. Alright, you can see we almost got her together. Now I just gotta put the foot pegs on. That's the final thing left, and I'm going to attempt to show you how to do that. KTM foot pegs are actually really easy to install if you know the trick, and yeah, let's get that done. You might have to this might not work on this side to film because I have to put the bike on a stand because the kickstand's in the way. So this is why I absolutely hate doing install videos. I know that they're very helpful for you guys, but there's about 1,000 outtakes in them and I get tired of it. This I had to put it on the stand because the kickstand was in the way. So anyway, we've got the foot peg in place, and we've got the screwdriver through the hole. You guys can see this somewhat moves freely, and we're taking the pin and we're gonna slide it up the screwdriver and bend the foot peg like it normally would if you were in the woods. Alright, so we got it, the pin pushed up in there. Now I just got to manipulate the spring with the screwdriver a little bit. Anyway, you just have to work it on there. This is a long and boring process that you don't need to watch. But it's really, really easy if you're not trying to talk to a camera, and then it just slides like that. Main idea is that the screwdriver is used as the guide so that you can have all that really nice KTM spring tension on there. So there is the finished product with the clip on top. So he's going to ride his off-road a lot more than me, so I'm going to install the Handguard kit for him. So for the record, I hate filming because it takes me 5 times as long to do everything when I have the camera here, but this is the KTM Handguard set. So before you put the bracket on the handlebar, you have to mount it to the handguard. And so this is going to go like that, with this going towards the headlight. So we mount the bracket like that. This is a guide for the cables, if my finger was the cables. And then we have the little plastic screws. And we have our handy dandy KTM toolkit, which comes with the 6mm. I use these all the time. I use my KTM toolkit tools more than any tools in my toolbox by a long shot. They're pretty much my primary tools for working on my KTM. And I really appreciate that from KTM because they make so much easier to just, you know, kind of field fix things. And I don't have a good place to work on my bikes, so I'm pretty much working on them like I'm working in the field. So you don't need to over tighten these things. They're just plastic screws. Just snug them up until they stop a little bit. I don't know, we'll call it 4 or 5 Newton meters. I'm sure there's a torque spec. And so there you go, it's ready to mount. You have to take the rubber boots off the handlebars, and it comes with a new supplied stainless steel bolt, and so this longer one will go through the perch now, and it uses the nut on the handguard instead of just the regular old nylock nut like on the when you have just the boots on there. That's how you do it. I'll show it on the bike. So setting up cameras is mostly a nightmare, so I hope you guys appreciate it. When they're new, they're nice and tight. I like that. Pull that off, you're exposed to the bolt, and you will need a 8mm and the 10mm box wrench that comes with the KTM stuff. Underneath is a 10mm nylock, and just break that loose. Alright, make sure this just stays in place where it's at. Grab the handguard. Now you can see this piece, how it connects to the cables, and we run a little cable tie through there. But first, we're going to just gently slide this over the perch, making sure our lever's still in the right place. And we slide that through and get it started on the other side. Be careful, it's a brass nut. It'd be really easy to strip, so make sure that it starts easily before you start cranking on things. Finger tight at the moment, and then we're going to come down here, hopefully you guys can see it, and we're going to zip tie the handguard to the cables so that it stays away from your hands. Get the cables through there, cable tie, and then you wrap it back. You guys can't see any of this, but there's a couple little slots in there. You got to weave the cable tie through. Come on, left hand. Damn retarded left hand. Alright, we got that. Zip it down. Line the guard up. And voila. Use a razor or a pair of dikes to cut off the excess. Don't cut your brake lines or any of your electronics. And then snug this up. Not too tight because it will impair the function of the lever by squeezing the perch. And that's plenty tight. Lever still works perfectly. She's been started, but she hasn't been run yet. So
be kind to her now,
yeah.
You know, like,
yeah.
never rode one of these, so be
yeah.
careful, okay, John?
I'm not gonna loop this one out unless it has a throttle stick or something. And we'll turn it on. So activates, and you can check what mode you're in by pushing the bottom button. And so it blinked 1. You just change it by holding it for like 3 seconds and letting off.
Mode 2, and then hold again.
Yep. Mode 3.
Mode 3, and then back to 1.
Yep. So 1 has the regeneration.
Right.
So when you're coasting down hills, it will regenerate all your stuff. And these are your battery indicators. So if you're ever wondering, you can pop the seat, lift it up, and it tells you what you did. So if you get on that last green light, you know that the last green light is 50 to 30%, and then you'll bump into the yellow, which it'll light up yellow in there.
Right.
And that's 30 to 20. Red, get your butt home. Flashing red, you're almost dead. So if you ever forget, just look there.
Okay.
And then she's activated, and just hit the start button. And I'm just going to test ride her in 1, and then you can have it.
Okay. Just gonna go.
So,
okay.
all right. Now the brakes work. Speedometer works. So her maiden voyage here. Everything seems to be working correctly and is tight. Awesome. So I just set up the computer. This is a standard KTM computer. And I set it up for run time, which is the time that the front wheel is moving. This is your total hours. That's your total distance on the bike. And then trip 1 is your mileage that you did for the day or whatever, or I use it for my charge, how many miles I have on my charge. And then S1 is the time of the mileage. So we've been running this bike for 30 seconds now. Now the front wheel is moving, and the clock is moving, and we stop, and the clock stops. So it's a real good indicator of run time. That's how I figure out how much time I've put on a battery. I'm starting it back a little further so you don't have to accelerate quite as hard. Okay. If we go even further, it'll be even easier. That speed right there was just tack, like perfect.
Yeah.
So that's the, like maybe kind of half throttle in second. And because you're so new to it, it does have a lot of torque.
First jump, I kind of shitty jump, and the next, but when I landed, I
yeah, and it
the throttle, yes, just a little, just the.
It's got a
tire.
lot of power.
Yeah.
It'll pull. So that's why I want you to kind of, because you're learning two things. You're not only learning the power, but you're learning the chassis.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got my kind of modified machine next to his stock machine, so you guys can see some of the differences. I have vinyl on my bike so that my legs don't tear it apart. Plus, this shroud is actually broken from my knee, and so I need to get a new one. So the vinyl is kind of holding it together along with some safety wire, so that's why that's there. Protects the plastic from my legs, and it's got a crack in it. I'm undecided on which color I'm gonna get, and I'll tell you why in a future video. But yeah, so here's my machine. It's got a little bit of dirt on it. I rode it yesterday, and some dust, and let's see what it looks like with and without the number plate. You can see my little hole shot device installed right there, and then here is the brand new bone stock machine. We'll call this an E-XC, and mine's more like an SX. I got beefed up suspension in it. And he's still got the Trials tires, of course. And he's still got the brake light. So yep, that's a Virgin machine. It only has 45 seconds of runtime on it. And I also don't have the Explorer stickers on mine. I have the motocross, full-on motocross WP stickers on mine, and of course I have motocross tires and no handguards. So yeah, that's just to show you guys the difference in the way they look and when they're set up a little bit differently. Of course I have the side panels too, which he doesn't. He's gonna ride his on some jumps and stuff, but he's also gonna do a lot more trail riding on his, so it'll stay pretty close to stock trim, where I'm gonna hybrid mine a little bit. I'm gonna run it on the street when I can, as soon as the coronavirus is over and I can get it legal, hopefully. Great looking machines. A little bit different setup for a little bit different riders.